Hello, guys, and what is up? I'm back. Well, for now, I'm back. Yeah, for this one. I promise you guys are 30 and 30, and you're gonna freaking get it. I have pre-recorded games in the background. You guys are gonna watch those. I'm gonna talk over it. Each video is gonna be about 15 minutes long. So let's jump right into it. I'm not sure how many teams I'm gonna get done, but we'll see. As many as I can get done in 15 minutes. So, first up, we're gonna go in alphabetical order. So it's only fair if the Anaheim Ducks go first. So first and foremost, for the Anaheim Ducks, my first thing. Nick Ritchie coming up. I think Nick Ritchie is going to fit in fine as an NHL this year. As a matter of fact, I can see him playing on the Getzlaf and Perry line. I think that would be a great fit for him. 3 power forwards, how can you go wrong? So I think Nick Ritchie will definitely have a spot in the NHL this year. And I think he'll be pretty good too. I could see him getting between 35 and 45 points on a good year. After that, Antoine Vermette signing. I think that's a very underrated signing. I think he's going to fit in well. He's a good two-way forward, good at face-off, something Anaheim's good at. So I think Vermette's going to fit in very well with the Anaheim Ducks. I like that signing, cheap contract, and it also gives them an option to leave open to the expansion draft. When the expansion draft comes up next year, they can leave Vermette in there unprotected. This year he has a no movement clause that expires next year, so he's going to be eligible to be on that list of unprotected players. Now, in regards to Anaheim's forward core, I do not believe they are very strong, but defensively they are very strong. So my suggestion is trade a defenseman, get a forward. Hampus Lindholm or Semi Vatanen or Cam Fowler can get you either one really good forward or 2 pretty good forwards. I think that's the best way to go about doing it. That's just my opinion. I think it's best for Anaheim to do that because, it would make the most sense. Player like... I'll use Rick Nash as an example only because he's has potential to be traded. Nash with salary retained, of course, for Fowler or whatever or something like that. I'm sure other teams would want those kinds of guys, and they'll give up similar players. So that would be good. Maybe like Vatanen or Fowler for like Jeff Skinner, and or something else. That's really it for the defense-offense thing with the Ducks. I think their defense is very good. I just think their forwards could use work. Just my opinion. As per their goaltending situation, I don't like Anaheim's goalie situation. I really don't. John Gibson, can he be a starter? Yes. Can he stay consistent? I don't know. Is Jonathan Bernier a great backup? Absolutely not. He struggled in Toronto. So we'll see if he's able to step up. I hope he could. I mean, I hope only for the best for this guy because I'm pulling for him. But we'll see. We'll see what he does. And obviously, you got to sign Rickard Rakell. So, final assessment of the Anaheim Ducks: they are a playoff team. Moving on now to the Arizona Coyotes. First and foremost, the acquisition of Alex Goligoski, great. It's going to have a deadly power play in Anaheim and Arizona. I can promise you that. Ekman Larson and Goligoski is going to be filthy at the point. That's not even considering Domi, Duclair, and all those guys. Biggest question is, will the rookies be able to step up and take over the team? Shane Doan's not getting any younger. Martin Hanzal, is he going to be able to stay healthy? These rookies are going to have to step up. You got to look at a guy, Domi, Duclair, maybe Lawson Cruz. Maybe he'll make the team. Dylan Strome. I think he's going to make the team. I think he's going to do pretty good. Laurent Dauphin, or Dolphin, however you pronounce his name, he'll probably get a spot. That's a good question. Will they step up this year? Will they take over? We'll see. Looking at the Coyotes' defense, they actually got a pretty solid defense for a team that probably won't make the playoffs. I like their defensive core. I really like the acquisition of Luke Shen. I thought that was cool. Now, here's a question. Does Luis Domingue take over the starting goalie position from Mike Smith? I think that's a reasonable question to be asked. I think Domingue's capable of it, but we'll see. I like the chances. I would say he's got a fair chance of taking over. The only problem is the Mike Smith contract, but we'll get into that another time. Final assessment of Arizona. I do not think they will be making the playoffs. I think they're a playoff hopeful, but I do not see them making the playoffs. All right, moving on to Boston. My favorite signing of the entire offseason, excluding the Rangers, of course, goes to the Boston Bruins when they signed David Backes. The David Backes signing is such an excellent signing for them. He's going to be absolutely perfect in Boston. You got Bergeron, Krejci, and Backes down the middle. And that is sick. Backes is such a Boston forward. Big and skilled. Awesome power forward to have. Pretty good at faceoffs too. So I think Boston has a very, very deep forward core that can go. It's going to play very well. Question for Boston: will Rask be able to rebound? Not that he's a bad goalie, but last year wasn't the greatest for him. Will he be able to rebound, recreate his elite status, and take Boston to the playoffs? Will the defense hold up? Char is not getting any younger. Torrey Krug isn't necessarily he's a good defenseman, very good defenseman, but is he going to take over your defensive core? I don't know. McQuaid, Kevin and Colin Miller, we'll see. We'll see. They might have some rookies coming up. Will David Pastrnak break out and finally become this really, really good player he's advertised to be? I certainly, for Boston's sake, hope so, because kid's got potential, man. I think Pastrnak could very well be a first-line forward for Boston. I think he could be a 60-point guy, too, one day. Will Brad Marchand, they got to get him under contract, because if he walks, he's going to get a lot of money elsewhere. And they'll come back to bite him in the ass, because that's the kind of player Marchand is. So, final assessment of Boston. This one was rough. So this is my answer to the will they make the playoffs question. They should be a playoff team, but I don't think they will be. I will leave that as is and blow up my comment section, please. All right, what are we at in time? Oh, perfect. So, the Buffalo Sabres, first and foremost, the Kyle Okposo signing, amazing. He's going to fit in so well in Buffalo. He's going to be in the same situation Ryan O'Reilly was, where he's going to come in and just dominate. Not that he was bad in New York with the Islanders, but he's just going to be great with Buffalo. That's just the kind of player Okposo is. I think Okposo and Ryan O'Reilly should definitely be a line. I think that would be a sick line. And I could see Okposo getting between 55 and 70 points, depending on, injuries and such. Secondly, Eichel and Reinhart, sophomore slump. For Reinhart, I can see it. For Eichel, I think he's too much of a premier player to get caught in that sophomore slump. I can see Eichel getting between 65 and 80 points this year. Reinhart, 40 and 55, with at least 20 goals for Reinhart. Zemgus Girgensons. Will he rebound this year? He didn't have a great last season, guys. He really did not. And he got a crappy contract in return for that and was subject to trade rumors all summer long. I think he may bounce back, but he won't be the player he was. I think he'll have a good year, but he won't have a great year. And I could see him getting traded. So that's another thing. I could definitely see him getting traded this year. Dmitry Kulikov, I love that acquisition for Buffalo. I think Kulikov's going to fit in very well with the defensive core. He's young, solid two-way. I think he'll be on the first pairing with Bogosian, but they might split him up to add some more depth to the Buffalo defense. So here's two questions for the Buffalo Sabres. Is Robin Lehner ready to be a number one? Last year, this was the same question. Is he ready to be a number one? Never really found that out because he got hurt. But this year, is he ready? Because I don't know if they're going to need him to be if they want to make the playoffs. And will Alex Nylander make the team? I think that Nylander will play this year, but I do not think he will find himself a consistent role. That's my opinion. Now, as per Buffalo's playoff chances, I am going to say yes, they will make the playoffs, but really big part of me wants to say no. But for now, I'm going to say yes. We'll see how they play. I like Buffalo's chances. I like their offseason acquisitions, their potential lines, and all that good stuff. I think if they need anything, they're going to need to find a plan to do something with Lehner if it doesn't work out, and maybe a little more depth on defense, but we'll see. And that's my take on Buffalo. So moving on. Calgary Flames. It's team number 5, right? Oh, damn. Nice. We're moving fast. Calgary Flames. First and foremost, what the hell, Johnny Gaudreau? What's going on, man? They got to get him locked up. Dude's coming off nearly a point-a-game season. I think he missed it by a point. And he's not under contract. I mean, I would give him maximum $7.5 million and maybe a 5-year term. But I guess Calgary sees otherwise, you don't want to trade a guy like Goudreau. He's just done too much in Calgary. I think they've definitely got to get him under contract. 7.5 maximum, 7.750, pushing it, but we'll see. Another one of my favorite offseason acquisitions, Troy Brouwer. I was hoping the Rangers were going to get Brouwer because I really like him as a player. I remember him killing us when he was on Washington. Brouwer is an excellent player to have, extremely underrated, 20-goal scorer, depth guy, scores clutch goals, gets in the face of the opponent, just an awesome player. So I love that offseason acquisition. Love it. So, Sean Monahan and Sam Bennett, I think they're going to be number 1 and number 2. Centers for Calgary, I think it's an obvious choice. And I think that they're going to both have pretty good years. I can see Monahan definitely having another 30-goal season, if assuming Goudreau resigns. Monahan's going to score between 25, 30 goals and between 55 and 70 points. That's my take on Monahan. I think he's a very solid player, one of my favorites. Sam Bennett, I'm going to say 25 goals and between 50 and 55 points. I don't see him scoring more than 55, though. I love Calgary's defense with Giordano, Hamilton, and Brody. I think that's awesome top 3 right there. The acquisition of Brian Elliott, excellent. They've been going back and forth with goalies, Kari Ramo, Jonas Hiller, and whoever else they had up. I think Elliott's good stay goalie for Calgary. I think he'll fit in very nicely with them. Especially now that Troy Brouwer's in town. They played together before in St. Louis. Matthew Tkachuk, I believe he will make the team, and I think he's going to play on a consistent role. See, guys, teams like Calgary, players that are too young and wouldn't play on another team or aren't good enough to play on another team, play in Calgary, and they play good. Teams, low-market teams, tend to get players that aren't going to be good elsewhere and have them play good. So I think Tkachuk's going to play. And I think he's going to score between 40 and 55 points. I can see him having a really good year, assuming he plays, in a good spot in the lineup. Now, will the Calgary Flames make the playoffs? I'm going to make this a pretty decent conversation on this because I got an interesting take on it. I firmly believe with the team the Calgary Flames have fielded, they are more than capable of being a playoff team. And because they're young, they're gritty, and they can score, and they can do all these things, I can see them going the second or third round of the playoffs. But I also don't see them going that far. I can see them hitting a slump. There's something they're missing in their lineup. Maybe it's the fact that they don't have Hudler anymore, but they need that, small playmaking veteran like Yuri Hudler, like a Marty St. Louis type player. Now, I mean, obviously not as much scoring as St. Louis, but somewhat St. Louis type. A small veteran with good playmaking skills. Other comparables would be like a Yuri Hudler kind of guy, or I'm trying to think. Maybe they bring a Ginla back. I think that would be flipping awesome if they brought back a Ginla. But they're missing that, like a veteran playmaker. That's what they need. That's relatively quick too. That's what they need in Calgary. With that, I think they'll be a very, very well-rounded playoff team. So, for my final ballot, I'm going to say that the Calgary Flames are a playoff team, and I can see them making the playoffs on top of that. So that's my hot take. We covered 5 teams today. Try to get 5 teams again tomorrow. We'll see how busy I am. Hopefully I'm not too busy because I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to try to get consistent. I lost a ton of subscribers. Well, for me, it's a ton. I lost like 6, I think, which is, unfortunate. People didn't want to stick around. I did leave a message on the bottom of my last video saying, I hope you guys could bear with me. I hope that's still the case, guys. The ones that stick around, you're the loyal ones, you're the good ones. So I appreciate that very much. So, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of my assessments, what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.